Forests are one of our greatest natural resources on planet Earth. Besides their incredible beauty, they also play a vital role in our ecosystem, storing carbon, preventing erosion, and regulating the water cycle. However, they are a resource in danger. While they cover approximately 1/3 of Earth's surface, we lose an estimated 15 billion trees each year. If the destruction of Earth's forests continues, will we run out of oxygen? To answer this question, we first need to travel back at least 2.5 billion years to a young Earth. It had a surface almost entirely covered by oceans which were not blue, but green due to dissolved iron compounds. The sky was tinted orange with a haze of methane, and the planet was almost entirely devoid of free oxygen. Life on this early Earth was anaerobic. It didn't need oxygen to survive. In fact, these early organisms would have found oxygen poisonous. But all this was about to change. Here we meet an organism known as Cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria appeared early in Earth's history and could perform photosynthesis, transferring the light energy of the sun into chemical energy which it could use. While photosynthesis had likely been developed much earlier, what was special about Cyanobacteria was its ability to release oxygen as a waste product. Cyanobacteria was wildly successful at this, and over time oxygen accumulated in the oceans, changing the green rust to red as it oxidized. When the red rust settled, bands of it were eventually deposited at the bottom of the ocean, which we can still see today. Oxygen eventually started to accumulate in the atmosphere as well. This buildup, called the Great Oxidation Event, would wreak havoc on the planet before it brought us to the world we know today. One problem was that the sun was less bright 2.5 billion years ago. And while the Earth was well insulated by methane gas in the atmosphere, the new atmospheric oxygen broke down this methane into a less powerfully insulating gas, carbon dioxide, chilling the planet to a glacier-covered ice age. As if this weren't bad enough, the new atmospheric oxygen was poison to cyanobacteria, along with other anaerobic life on Earth. Fortunately for us and for all future oxygen breathers, cyanobacteria and other organisms were able to adapt to this oxygen-rich environment. One branch of these future aerobic organisms deserves a closer inspection, namely plants. Plants first evolved around 500 million years ago and utilize photosynthesis like cyanobacteria do, consuming carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. But their connection is even more closely linked. The organelles inside plant cells which perform photosynthesis were once cyanobacteria themselves. This occurred through a process called endosymbiosis, which is really just a way of saying that long ago, an organism engulfed a cyanobacterium and instead of absorbing it as food, kept it around and the two became a new hybrid organism. This new partnership worked well enough that the cyanobacterium became a permanent addition to the organism, and nowadays every chloroplast in every plant can trace its lineage back to this original partnership. So if cyanobacteria built up Earth's atmosphere starting around 2.5 billion years ago, what supports it today? Surprisingly, our friends cyanobacteria are still around. Along with diatoms, dinoflagellates, green algae, and others, they form a community of ocean organisms called phytoplankton, which create about 70% of the world's oxygen, with terrestrial plants creating the rest. But there's a bit of a catch here. The creation of oxygen needs to be balanced against how much oxygen these photosynthesizers consume. Nearly all the oxygen created by plants and bacteria gets used up by the organisms themselves. While plants absorb carbon dioxide as part of the photosynthesis process, they also consume oxygen. They don't need it during the day when it's created through photosynthesis, but at night when there is no light, they need it to metabolize the carbohydrates they create just like we do. Additionally, when plants die, their decomposition uses oxygen as they are broken down by microbes. The destruction of forests, while a tragedy on its own, is a minimal threat to our oxygen supply because forests produce almost zero net oxygen. Earth's oceans are our main source of oxygen, If plants and photosynthetic bacteria are over deep water when they die, they can sink to deep oxygen-deprived waters where they are sequestered, avoiding the oxygen-consuming decay of land plants. This process works very, very slowly. Only around 1/10,000% of our planet's photosynthetic organisms are sequestered like this and add oxygen to our atmosphere. In fact, if all oxygen producers on our planet were to die, we would still have millions of years of oxygen left. So to answer our original question, no, we aren't running out of oxygen anytime soon. And while the story of oxygen on our planet is a long one with many twists and turns, it is also a story which may be told elsewhere. As we scan the skies for planets other than our own, we may one day discover that telltale signature of oxygen, a chemical which is so highly entwined with life on our own planet, it may signal life on another. In addition to its importance to life here on Earth, oxygen may one day be the sign that in a vast universe, we may not be so alone.